Welcome to Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and I love these little cotton pads. I use them all the time. I really do love them. However, what I don't love about them is they're not reusable. It's a one-time use, and I throw them away. So let's make a replacement for these that we can wash. So in order to replace these disposable pads, we can make our own. The first thing I would start off with is a container that we're going to store them in. Now we can store them in old makeup containers, wash them out, and that way we can have that size. Or we can use old candle containers. You can get them in the dollar store, Bath and Body Works, and you don't have to have them small and plain. These Bath and Body jars with the 3 wicks are nice and big, and it would give us a nice size. Definitely a lot more to work with than these little ones. And of course, we can get really fancy with the containers. So we just need to start off with a container. After that, we need to have the size inside. So take a piece of cardboard and cut the shape, regardless if it's a circle or a square, and make sure that it's going to fit inside with just a little bit of room to spare. That is going to be our template shape. There are different fabrics that you can use to make these pads with. We can use toweling, cotton. I like to use one side microfiber and the other one a cotton towel. So I will need to take these and lay them out together. We need to put our 2 layers together. Now I like to stick these layers together with a quilt batting spray, but you don't need to. Let's just trace our circles. I'm going to leave just a tiny little space and draw those circles. I just picked up this microfiber cloth from the dollar store and an old towel, and it looks like these are going to fit perfect. I love it when that happens. Now take this to the machine and do a row of stitching down the centers. That's just going to keep them together, and it's just going to hold that fabric together as we go around those circles. Once we have those lines done, then just stitch a little bit inside of those circles, just with a straight stitch. We want to hold all of those layers together before we cut apart our circles. The circles are stitched and stitched around. Now I can cut them out on that cutting line. So I have that little stitching just inside. We now have a pile of these little circles. You can see where that stitching has held them together. We do need to put a finishing edge on this. So we can go to a sewing machine and do a zigzag stitch all the way around, a buttonhole stitch, or we can take them to a serger. I'm going to take them to a serger and stitch them. And I'll show you a little trick on sewing these circles. If you have a knee press, this is definitely going to be a handy time to use it. But for those that don't, I will show you with just our back lifting that foot up. Because the edges are already cut, we're really not wanting to cut them. We just want the stitches to follow this edge. So I'm going to stitch a little bit, just lift that presser foot up just a little bit and continue. Stitch a little, lift up. Stitch, lift up. We just need to lift up a little bit, just enough to move that fabric underneath. It's already cut. We just want to use that as a guide. And after a while, it becomes really quick. When we come to the end, just overlap a couple of stitches and then stitch right off. Now I can start my next piece. That adhesive will wash out the first time, and so will my Crayola marker. I now have a nice container full of reusable pads. I have a lid to store them in, and I was able to recycle those beautiful candle containers. And if I really want to get fancy, this definitely will be a nice addition to the bathroom. You could do a mix of them and see which ones you like best. And if you're going to give them a gift, you could put a little applique on each one of those pads. So these reusable pads can be made any size. We can make them small or a little bit larger. The great part is we get to throw them in the machine and we get to reuse them. Now we're not going to want to use them to remove nail polish or for painting, but for a lot of things we're going to be able to reuse them. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I do have a newsletter, all under Sew Very Easy. I'll put some links in the description for you. And I do hope you make some of these pads. They're definitely a lot of fun to do. Bye for now.